Welcome to MMA30, the show where we break down UFC for betting, picks, and DFS in 30 minutes or less. My name is Jake, and I am joined by Brittany again.
Hi, everybody.
We're going to break down UFC 329. This is going to be the Holloway and McGregor Fight 2 in Vegas this weekend. And if you guys don't know who we are, I recommend listening to our last pod that we did. We kind of broke down a little bit about our backgrounds in that. And let's get into it. So Brittany kind of touched on this on the last time that we recorded about her Connor experience. So why don't you get into it again and tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I absolutely love Connor. I remember seeing one of his fights live in Las Vegas, and I saw him, it's one of those ones where he won really fast and he jumped up onto the octagon. I mean, it was just so cool to see that. And I was like, who is this guy? I really hadn't paid much attention before that. And ever since then, I've just loved him. I mean, of course, I have red hairs. That just puts me into the Connor crowd immediately. But I'm really excited to see him fight again.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we are going to break down that fight first.
So Connor has been out of the UFC for a while, so that's going to be a concern like right away. He's also coming off some pretty bad injuries, his drug issues, and just all the drama that surrounds him always. I know he's really hyping himself up here, but Holloway's been proving himself fight after fight. I know he lost to McGregor in the first fight, but that was a different Holloway. But it was a different McGregor too. It's going to be nice to see how they come together here. And my heart's with Connor. It always will be, but I'm going to have to think that Holloway is going to win this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm 100% on Holloway all the way. McGregor is just hyping himself up as much as possible because that's who he is. I saw some clips of him saying that this is his prime time, except for his age and everything else would tell you that he's out of his prime and that he's got this huge advantage because he's been on this rest period where everybody else has been fighting. But I just don't see it. Like, he has some power in round one. Could he knock Holloway out in round one? Would I be totally shocked? No, but I'm going to go with the guy that's been in the ring, that's been proving himself. Like you said, that's going to be Holloway. So yeah, that's my pick too. And I think he probably gets it done in round two or round three. So next fight we want to talk about is the co-main event. This is one that I'm super looking forward to. I think Paddy did not look great his last fight against Justin Gaethje, who's now the champion, but that's not how Paddy normally fights. That's not the real Paddy, in my opinion. I don't see Paddy getting finished here by BSD. I know BSD is really tough, but Paddy's just even tougher. I just don't see that he gets finished here. So my opinion, Paddy's probably the better grappler. I know some people might not agree with that take, but I personally think he is. He's definitely the better striker. I've seen BSD get hurt and rocked before. And I put this fight more of like a 50-50 fight, and the line's got BSD as the favorite. So my pick here is going to be Paddy. And I do think that Paddy could get the finish maybe in rounds 2 or rounds 3.
Yeah, I agree. This will be a fun fight. BSD fights are typically entertaining. He brings the pressure and the violence, but I think Paddy is game to expect that type of fight. So it'll be interesting to see the wrestling side in this fight. And if BSD can win the wrestling, he could get the win here. But overall, I think Paddy is the better, well-rounded fighter, and I think he gets the win here.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think you nailed it here. Just better, just sort of rounded fighter. And also think too, just coming off of that loss for Paddy, I think there is a lot of motivation, for him to get back into the win column, here as well. So, and then I know we wanted to touch on a couple other fights here. So I think you wanted to touch on the women's fight that we have on this card.
Yeah, I want to touch on the Wang and Cortez fight. I think Wang is an elite striker, and Cortez is a good grappler that's been training in Mexico City. So I don't think Wang will get the finish over her. So I see her taking over with the ground game and control time and putting up a decision win.
Yeah, no, I agree with that take. Trading in Mexico City, I know you've got that elevation, so a lot of fighters like to train there. So they've got better cardio. I know Wang is definitely, she's tough, but I just feel like Cortez is like the proven elite striker here. So I'm with you on that. And then the other fight I wanted to touch on is the Whitaker and Krylov fight. I think Krylov just is actually probably the hardest name that we have to say on this card, which is pretty good considering the last card. all these fighters had crazy names that I couldn't say most of them properly.
So true.
I'm glad we started our first episode with fighters that like we couldn't say their names. So start with the hardest thing and then work your way into it. But yeah, no. So yeah, Whittaker Krylov, I like Krylov here. I know he's the underdog, but he's going to be the bigger guy, especially in this weight class. I kind of feel like Whittaker is kind of on a down slope here. I mean, I wouldn't say Krylov is on an up slope. He hasn't done anything too impressive recently, but I just think he's going to be the bigger guy. As an underdog, I could see him getting a knockout here over Whittaker. All right, so before we get into some DFS, some bets, and some underdog plays, I wanted to mention, stay tuned for later in the week. I'm going to do a madness parlay short like I did last week. It'll probably be 8 legs. It's just something for fun. Please don't put your whole bankroll on this because the odds of this hitting is not likely, but putting a few dollars on, usually for these, I usually put like $10, maybe $20, just a fun little madness, if I could say the word right, parlay. And then I'm also going to do an ownership short, probably Friday or Saturday. Once I have final ownership, I'll do a short on kind of ownership and maybe add a play that I like based off of that ownership. So this is going to be like a pretty big week for me. I'm actually going to be in Vegas. Unfortunately, I'm not going to the fights, but fortunately, I'm going to be playing in the WSOP. So I'm going to be playing an event there. So I'm excited for that. But as far as DFS, it's a really big week for me. It's round 1 of the MMA World Championship on DraftKings. For those of you that don't know what it is, basically there's 100 people in this contest. You go down like 2 rounds, and then there's a live finale where DraftKings ships you out to wherever an event is. They put you up in like, first class type of entertainment. And then there is a contest for those live winners where you can win up to $250,000. So basically it's like a 1 in 100 chance. I only have 1 ticket. Some people have up to 5. I got 1, but it's like a 1 in 100 chance to win $250,000. So, and some really cool cred. So it's kind of a big week for me here. So
that's awesome. Good luck with both of those. That can be so much fun. I'm jealous you're going to Vegas. I would love
Thanks.
it if in next week's breakout, we can discuss your plays for round 2 and when I can see you on TV at the WSOP.
Yeah, that would be freaking awesome. I mean, I'm feeling pretty confident going into this week. So I feel we're going to have that conversation next week about, we'll obviously go over DFS plays, but hopefully they're going to my lineup for the qualifier and for WSOP. I mean, it's mostly for fun, but I just having a shot in it is just always an awesome thing to do. So really excited for those. All right, so let's get into some of my favorite bets here. I really like Holloway. I still like his money line bet. I like his KO bet. My favorite are probably going to be round 2 knockout, round 3 knockout. So I'm going to be betting all of those. I'm going to be taking Holloway money line, Holloway KO, Holloway round 2, Holloway round 3 KO, especially at the plus money that we're getting for those right now. And then my second favorite bet's going to be Patty. I like his money line. I also like him by finish. I don't know if it's going to come in the form of a KO, TKO, or a sub. So I'm just kind of going to find the line where I can just put him in as a finish.
Yeah, it breaks my heart to say it, but I see those fights playing out that way as well. So go ahead with those bets if you must.
I mean, come on. You think, are you going to maybe put a little sprinkle on Connor just because he's your boy, he has your heart? Do you think you're going to make that bet?
Yeah, sometimes you have to trust your heart, Sometimes you also lose money trusting your heart. So either way.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe after a few beers during the World Series, a poker break or something like that on Saturday, I'll go throw 20 in a machine. I'll put a bet on Connor for you. So
you just do that and thank me when you win.
I'll make a little bit of money for you. So, and then a couple live spots. There wasn't really a ton on this card that really stuck out to me as live spots that I liked. I think you could probably get Connor maybe at a better odds after round 1 because sorry, I'm saying this backwards. Maybe you can get Holloway after round 1 because I see Connor having a good round 1, really throwing some hard shots and stuff. So you might be able to get Holloway at a better price if Connor does have that round 1 that I'm kind of expecting him to have. And then the only one I could see would be, oh God, I mean, it looks, I don't know if it's penis. Pinas. I don't know. I'm gonna say penis just because that's what it looks like. I'm gonna say penis over Cesar Almeida. Sorry, I heard somebody else actually say penis, so I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. But I'm gonna say my official pick for this Penis and Caesar fight is going to be Penis. I think he does get the KO over Almeida, but I am interested to see after round 1 how Penis looks. I think, Caesar is the vet there. He does have the experience. So, if Penis starts to look tired, I think Caesar might be able to be a good live bet for you, maybe like round 2 or round 3. Okay, so I'm going to get a couple DFS plays. Again, these might change a little bit once I get ownership that comes out later in the week. But right now, my favorite play is going to be Holloway at that 9K. He's just the better striker. He puts up 100+ score most of the time. I do think he's going to win this fight. Like I said, round 2, round 3. So I think you're going to get that 100+ score out of him for 9,000. I also like our boy, Mr. Penis. It's got to be. We talked about this a little off air. We're trying to figure out if this is how you really say this guy's name. If we're saying it wrong, I'm really sorry, bro, but that's what we're coming up with. So I like Penis 8,900. I think he's going to get the knockout here over the 40-year-old fighter in Cesar Almeida. And then this one won't come to a surprise to anyone. We've got to talk about the McKinney fight here. McKinney is basically first round or bust going up against King Green. We know this guy's got that potential. If he doesn't get that finish in first round, we're probably fucked. But I do have a good feeling he's going to get that finish in first round because I saw some of King Green's finishes when he has gotten finished has been the first round. So McKinney just puts on that insane pressure. So might be getting that knockout or that submission. But if he gets that first round finish, which is where my lean's going to be, he's a must play on DraftKings, especially at 8,400. If you are going to be mass entering, I would want both sides of this fight. If I was going to be doing 150 lineups, I'd probably do something like 70% McKinney to 30% King. So you have exposure to both sides. But again, just basically a must own fight. You're going to want one of these two guys. They are going to be super chalk, but it's one of those situations you just eat the chalk. And then, like I said, I'll have a few more plays on that short Friday or Saturday once I know ownership.
And what are some underdogs you really like on this card, especially for DraftKings?
Good question. Yeah, we talked a little about Patty. He obviously stands out as a really good underdog because I think he's going to get the win in the finish here. I do like Mario at 7,900. I just think he's on like an uphill trajectory right now in his career versus I think Sandhagen is just kind of on the way down. The only downside, 7,900. I don't necessarily think Mario's going to get the finish in this fight, but he could put up a decent score with some takedowns and stuff at that 7,900 price in a decision. Krylov, he's probably going to be my favorite underdog on this card. Like I said in the breakdown earlier, I do think that he is going to get that finish. My least confident, I would put a little sprinkle on, is Reese at 7,600. I know Reese, he has some power. I know Ryan, the guy he's fighting, is supposed to have this crazy power. I couldn't find that much on Ryan that he's fighting beside his one fight in the UFC. So I would say he's kind of like a little bit more unproven where, we kind of know what we're going to get out of Reese here. So if this fight does go into round 2 or round 3, I do see, Reese, maybe pulling off a decision, maybe getting that later knockout in round 2 or round 3. So I wouldn't mind a sprinkle on Reese too. Of course, again, just saying once ownership comes in, things, might change, but that's going to be my take right now. Just not really knowing where ownership is going to be.
Let's run through the picks again quick. Main and co-main picks.
Yep. I'm going to stick with Holloway KO, and I'm going to go with Patty either by KO or by sub. So by finish.
Okay. Favorite bet?
Again, going to go with Holloway money line. I'm going to go with Holloway KO and Holloway round 2 or round 3 KO.
Favorite DFS play?
Oh, this is tough. I'm going to go with Holloway. He's my favorite play, but I know your gut's telling you Connor, so it's making me a little bit nervous, but I'm going to
you.
A little bit, yes, but I'm going to stick with everything that I know. And I'm going to stick with it as Holloway.
Okay, favorite underdog for DraftKings?
Patty's going to be my favorite underdog. I think he's going to be super popular. I think his ownership is going to be up quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see what BSD's ownership comes in at too, knowing that Patty's going to be really high. So I might get off of Patty if that's the case. Krylov, I'm going to be well over the field on Krylov. I really do think that he wins this fight. And like I said before, a little sprinkle on Reese. I don't love it, but I also don't hate it.
And I think that will do it for this episode. Please like and subscribe. Put your favorite underdog in the comments.
Yeah, and we'll be back next week. It's Duplessis and Usman in Oklahoma, so that should be a fun fight.
Yeah, good luck to everyone this week in DFS, bets, and especially to you, Jake, in the WSOP and MMA World Championship. Look forward to talking with you next week on MMA 30.
We'll see you next week on MMA 30.